Welcome to the Building Materials Sales and Marketing Podcast, presented by Mark Mitchell, a sales and marketing consultant who specializes in helping building materials companies overcome difficult sales problems. Mark is the author of the book Building Materials Channel Marketing and a frequent speaker at industry events.
So, hello, everybody. This is Mark Mitchell from Wizard Strategy. Glad you could join our podcast. I know I'm kind of sporadic as I put these out. I get an idea and I think about, I need to share this on a podcast or YouTube video. It's not like my newsletter where every Saturday morning I feel, okay, there's something I should share. What is it? And then I write an article. With podcasts, I'm more, I could do 3 or 4 in a week, or then I might not go for a couple of weeks and do one. So appreciate your patience in sticking with me. As always, I like to share information with you that I think is of importance to you, that will help you be more successful in growing your business. And when I come across something that is just something that I don't understand why people aren't doing it, I will share that. And then sometimes I come across something that is, to me at least, totally new, something that I'd never thought about, never recognized people were working on. And that's today's subject that we're going to cover in today's podcast. And we're going to talk about dealer and contractor locators. So when you think about on your website, if there's a little button there that says find a dealer, that says where to buy, find a contractor, find a distributor, that's what we're talking about. And it typically, when you click on that, it usually takes you to a map and you put in your location. And then that map shows you a list of dealers and or contractors or others that might have your product in stock or should be a place that I could buy your product. That's how I thought. A locator is something you have to have. It's more of a convenience for the customer. It really isn't helping you that much. It's not helping the manufacturer. It's not helping the contractor or dealer that much. I mean, shipping that is funneling a little business to them, but just kind of as a convenience. And so last year, I got to know Joshua Rich from Bullseye Locations. And Joshua showed me what he was doing with a location software for other building material companies. And it was a real wake-up call to me. Since then, I've really been looking at this, thinking about, wow, why isn't the rest of the world aware of this? The need to improve your locator. At first, I thought, it's like when how things have advanced. When I started out in this business a long time ago, you had a Rolodex that had your contacts in it. And then we got computers and we got spreadsheet software. So we took the names in our Rolodex and put them in the spreadsheet. And then that developed along to CRM programs like Salesforce, which do a whole bunch more than that. And thinking also about communication. I remember, when before we had email, if you wanted to communicate that way, you would use direct mail, whether you mailed a bunch of letters, you mailed a bunch of brochures, you mailed a bunch of postcards, but it was direct mail. Then we got email and we decided, well, we'd like to send out a bunch of emails at once. So we got programs like MailChimp. And then those evolved into really sophisticated programs like HubSpot. And I kind of feel like the locator software that most companies use is somewhere around the range of the spreadsheet and MailChimp, where the rest of their marketing has moved on to Salesforce and HubSpot and things like that, much more data-driven, measurable processes. It's like we just have this locator here that's basically like a MailChimp program when it should be operating like a HubSpot program. And so that really intrigued me. And then I related it to, in my years and years of working in building materials, there's a couple of common threads that I hear. One of them that I consistently heard when I first started in this business, and what I still hear today, is there's no loyalty from our customers. Like, we have dealers, we have contractors, we have distributors. There's no loyalty from them to us. There's no loyalty. So we can send business to a contractor or dealer, and they can sell that customer on our competitor's product. Now, we brought them the inquiry. If there was some loyalty, they would at least appreciate that and sell our product. That we're the one that brought the inquiry to them. But this feeling about they just salespeople day in and day out see where, wow, we sent an inquiry to this customer and they ended up selling the competition. Second question is, how do I outperform the competition without outspending them? So how can I outperform the competition and not hire 20 more salespeople or add $500,000 to my marketing budget? How can I outperform the competition? And the third one, and this is becoming more important recently, and that is, how do I make it easier for customers to choose our product? Now, in the past, we kind of said, look, that's just how building materials are sold. I'm sorry. I know it's not perfect, but you go through this and that, difficulty of getting accurate information and so forth. That's just how it works. Well, now customers aren't going to accept that anymore. They want to deal with the companies that are easiest to deal with, that require them to make the least additional effort in order to choose that product. And so how that kind of all summed up to me was I thought about, we spend today all this effort, money, and resources on attracting people to our brand and our company. So we'll say getting them to come to our website, to notice our website, to spend time on our website. We then use calls to action, whether it's like get a sample or a quote or a lookbook, and we start to nurture a relationship. We know there is a customer in this city that is interested in this. And then we start to communicate with them and build a relationship and hopefully have them see that between us and our competitors, that we are the better choice. And this is all on well-run systems. This is working really well. It's helping salespeople to know where to spend my time, where not to spend my time. When is somebody worth pursuing? When are they not? Where should I best spend my time, basically? You go to the locator, and so you spend all this time, you bring people along, they finally want to, okay, I'm now want to find out where to buy. I'm probably ready to buy now. And so now I go to the locator, and the typical locator is a map and gives me a bunch of locations and sends me off on my own to choose one of those on my own, perhaps get in my car, drive there, perhaps pick up the phone and call them, perhaps arrange an appointment on my own, and all of a sudden use the manufacturer, have nothing to do with this. It's like you've nurtured this relationship, but the minute I choose if there's different doors you can choose, the door I choose is dealer locator. It's like you say, goodbye. It's been nice knowing you. I hope you buy our product, but we'll never know. And I thought, wow, how is this? I thought, what a big blind spot. So I've been really excited about this as a way for companies to fix a lot of those issues that they had and really not have to spend a bunch of money to do it. And so that's what's really gotten me focused on this in the last year, because I've started now to notice companies that are doing it well, companies that are not doing it well, companies that are doing it half well, companies that are like, are you kidding me? You shouldn't even have a locator. And so I've been doing a weekly review on YouTube of specifically locators, just to see what we all can learn from it and who's doing a better job and who's not. And so I'd like to introduce the two guests we have today, both from Bullseye location, and that is Joshua Rich and Brian Baker. So welcome, Joshua and Brian, to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Mark. Nice to be here with you.
Hey, Mark.
So Joshua, I'm not a computer guy. I don't understand those things. I just look at, first, I always want to look at things from the customer's perspective. Like when I work with building material companies, I try to put myself in the shoes of the customer and say, what am I seeing here? And that customer could be a homeowner. The customer could be a home buyer. Customer could be a home builder, a contractor, dealer, whoever. I want to look and say, how do I see this? How I described my initial feeling about locators and Bullseye, did I describe that correctly, or did I miss anything?
Yeah, there's a great description. I mean, we try to very much balance the technology with the user experience and what the business benefit is, and looking at it through the lens of the business benefit. Make sure that we're delivering a solution that actually generates results.
So Brian, before working with Bullseye, you were at GAF in digital marketing. And you and I've known each other for a number of years from that standpoint. I've always thought that GAF does an outstanding job in building material marketing, which is marketing is challenging for many building material companies. And I think GAF's always done a great job. What did you learn about the importance of locators when you were at GAF?
One of our biggest insights as a brand early on, and we were really ahead of everybody else in this regard, is when you talk about building materials, consumers generally aren't going to know brands. Now, in some cases they do, but in many cases they're not going to know the brand of a given product, a brand of roofing or some other material off the top of their head. And so usually they're starting their process by looking for an expert, in our case, a roofing contractor. So we would see people would look for a roofing contractor first and then lean on their recommendation in terms of what product they were going to make. And so we had this really great certified contractor program because some smart folks that came before me figured out that that's who we needed to influence early on. We needed to figure out how to carry that forward in digital. And so we built this really great contractor directory, a local contractor directory at GF so that we could intercept homeowners, because the first thing they would do is seek a professional. So we needed to intercept them and connect them with somebody that was affiliated with our brand or who's going to recommend our products. That was really pretty transformative for us because the first people that people were finding were people that were going to be affiliated with GAF. And the net that you catch in sort of the local search space, particularly you've got a large network of installers or dealers, is really wide, right? You've got pages for every city and state in the country. So you're capturing, thousands of people every day into your website that normally wouldn't have come into contact with your brand just because they don't know brands.
Yes. The changes that you made in the locator, how well received were they by the contractor, Brian?
The contractors were actually really excited about it. One of the reasons that we went into this space was this was, maybe 2010 or so. The economy wasn't that great. Everybody was looking for leads. And so all these guys were looking for, well, how do we get visible on the internet? And their challenge was there were all these other companies like Service Magic and people like that parked in that space. So they couldn't get visibility for their websites. They couldn't get visibility really any other way than paying the sort of middleman, right? He would just really kind of capture leads and just sell them to 100 people. And so the installers were kind of crying out in pain here. So there was a huge pain point for them that we wanted to lean into and solve. We created this level of visibility for them. If they participate in our directory as part of their certification with our brand, they'd get this level of visibility in the internet. And so they were, as we started to drive business to them, they were, of course, very, very happy with what we were doing. There was a real pain point there, right? They weren't technically sophisticated enough to overcome some of these bigger digital smarty pants that were keeping them blocked out of their own market.
That's good. Good insight.
We are seeing and have seen for some time a lot of the same challenges that Brian's describing with other clients. And that's been one of the things that's really propelled the development of our platform into providing a much more robust set of capabilities that go beyond just the sort of standard locator, like you described it early on, where it's just here's a list of locations and there's no sense of where the customer goes after they find a location. And so we've really sort of worked with a number of companies in the same way that Brian has at GAF to build a software technology that supports this networking and supports the ability to promote contractors, to promote installers, and to help customers find the right dealer and connect to the right contractor or installer.
Okay, yeah. So Joshua, in my learning more just from my curiosity about the importance of locators and I'll call best practices, I'll say that I've learned. The first thing that comes to my mind is that companies give me a list of potential places that I should be able to buy their product. And if I'm looking for a commodity, even if it's a branded commodity, chances are every lumber yard carries nails. Okay. And maybe if like I'm the Mays Nail Company and I list these, then they probably have Mays nails, right? But many times today, I'm looking for a fireplace. I'm looking for a roof. I'm looking for a new deck. I'm looking for new windows. I'm maybe even paint and things, but I'm looking for something where today I'm looking for something that is right for me and my project and my situation. So I might be a do-it-yourselfer. I might be building a new house. I might be remodeling. I might be replacing an old fireplace, whatever I'm doing. And the first thing I noticed was looking at locators is they make me do this extra work to figure out, okay, here are 5 places that I can buy this product, but they're each probably a little bit different. And one of them maybe focuses on larger commercial projects. One of them focuses on new home construction. One of them focuses on do-it-yourself. One of them has a beautiful showroom with designers. And so many locators to me, so I'm just talking about the first step one that I noticed was how much extra work I had to do. I don't want to just get in my car and drive 6 miles to the closest location and hope that it's the right one. In today's world, I found myself cutting and pasting, if their website link wasn't there, cutting and pasting the name of the company and going and looking at the dealer's website myself and then and taking the extra step. And in today's world, I don't want to take that extra time. So the first thing it seems to me is from a customer experience that if you just give me a whole bunch of locations and you don't help me differentiate them, you're really not helping me that much. And I may end up going to the competition who may have an easier to use locator. So am I right there that that's I'm going to say step number 1 that I saw?
Yes, very much so. As a consumer, I think you want to be able to differentiate the dealers and get an understanding of who's really the right one, who carries the product that you have, who is going to provide this particular service that you need. I think that then it moves into, how do you tell the story of the purchase process and sort of getting to know the dealer a little bit. And you can actually do that through the website, even before customer leaves. You can start to give them a sense of what that purchase experience is going to be like, and I think that's going to increase the conversion.
Definitely. And I also see 2 levels of doing this, Joshua. Let me know if you agree with me. One is where even if the typical traditional locator, so I'll have the name of the company, I'll have their street address, I could have a phone number, I could have hours, I could have, maybe a couple other lines. So I could take that block of copy, if you will, and I could attempt to do a better job there. And then if I want to take it the next level, I literally have a landing page for each one of those customers that you want to learn more, click here. And it could be a paragraph of copy, or it could have photos, it could have reviews, it could have special events, it could have all kinds of things, right? But
Yep.
You can start to do it. Phase 1 is just help me. I was on a locator this morning for a kitchen cabinet company, and I live in Boulder, and up came 20 locations. And this kitchen cabinet company presents themselves as we make quality kitchen cabinets. And the first location on the locator was Wholesale Building Supplies. Is the name? I think is the name of the company. And I'm like, let me see. Wholesale Building Supplies. Let me see. Quality and wholesale building supplies. Those 2 don't necessarily go together, okay? Good price? Yeah, okay. So then I noticed that they had, I'm going to say, 12 to 13 of those additional locations were lumber dealers. And then finally, they had a couple of kitchen and bath dealers. Yeah. and I had to work hard to find somebody that was a kitchen and bath dealer. And I had to go to I had to manually take myself to their website. If I were a home owner that wanted to remodel my kitchen, okay, if I want to deal with a dealer that's just going to sell me things but not help me with design or installation, then that's fine. But if I'm somebody that wants to, and so even just segmenting out by category would have been very helpful to me. Right. So I think it's that thing we're talking about here is that first thing that traditional locators do is assume all dealers, contractors are the same. Right. And maybe they want to reward their best dealer contractor by, let's say, putting them first or something because of their volume not because of necessarily who they are best for that particular customer. Did I get that right?
No, I agree 100%. And the very sophisticated companies, they're doing landing pages, local pages, they're doing city pages. But if you're looking to just, address the low-hanging fruit, I think what you've described is really accurate. It's adding photographs. It's reviews is a great way to help customers differentiate between locations, and then also extending the search criteria so that customers can filter down to specific products or specific features. If a location has a showroom, if the location has whatever it is, handicap accessibility might be something. But the point being that just looking at that locator on your website, there are a number of things that you can do to create a better user experience and to really help customers get a feel for the dealers and differentiate and find the one that matches what they're looking for.
Yes. So in that first example of all you're doing is providing better information on the description of the location, the dealer or contractor, and you're probably saying, here's the phone number, call them yourself. Here's a link to their website. Go check it out yourself, right? So that's better than not doing it. But yet you now, you just sent the customer away. You're no longer involved. You don't know they went there. And so that next phase to me is simply saying, helping them decide which dealer or contractor, or even if they want to talk to 3, they don't want to talk to 20, they choose which are the best 3 if they want to. But then to make it easy for them to arrange to put them in contact with the dealer by having where you click on that dealer, it takes you to a form that I'm still on the company's website. I fill out the form, I push submit, it goes to the dealer and it goes to me. And so now the dealer gets it right away, but I also get it right away and make sure I can stay involved if I choose to. I can monitor how quickly does the dealer, how responsive is the dealer? Because more and more today, we can lose a sale where the dealer doesn't, you got to have a great dealer, but they're too busy to follow up on inquiries. And so the customer comes to your website, loves your brand, loves everything, and then has this one bad experience where the dealer doesn't call them back or answer their phone or something, or contractor, and they don't maybe go to the next dealer, they maybe go to your competition. Am I right there?
Yeah, and I think as a brand, you have an opportunity to stay involved in the customer's experience with the dealer, right? So by participating in that, by making sure that the dealer's following up, making sure that the communication itself is branded, you're able to help the customer and play a role in the path to purchase, which is very, very important.
Yes, that really is what really got my attention a year ago when I first learned about Bullseye and what you were doing. That simple idea. First, I thought about how do I give the customer a better experience? And then 2, how do I stay involved? If I spent all this time to send somebody 6 emails and a sample and all this other stuff, and I've made that investment in them, and then I say goodbye and cross my fingers that it turns into a sale and have no idea, I don't know, it just makes no sense. Brian, what am I capturing this right, or do you have a different perspective or something that you can add to that?
No, I think you're absolutely right on in terms of how you're thinking about that. So many people, they build a website, they're concerned about what does it look like, what does our brand look like, but then when we go to let's actually buy something, we've got to relay somebody to the channel to buy something. We really lose all visibility into that. You've made a huge amount of investment, right, in terms of advertising, design, everything to get all these people to your site and get them down to this point where you just sort of turn it loose. And I think that's one of the most important things that folks really need to realize about this area. You're kind of changing the nature of your relationship with dealers and installers to, hey, why don't you guys sell our product for us, to no, we as the manufacturer, we're going to send people to you that are ready to buy our product and pull things through. And you want to be able to manage and govern that process and ensure that it's working successfully.
And that touches on the point you made earlier, Mark, which is the idea of driving loyalty, dealer loyalty. If customer, gets to a dealer and it's very anonymous, the dealer has no idea where they came from, there's going to be no brand loyalty. But if that lead has come from the manufacturer's website, and that lead, got an email with the brand communication, and you can prove to the dealer that, yeah, we've sent you this lead, then it's really driving that brand loyalty, and the dealer is going to be more inclined to sell your product instead of somebody else's.
Yes, no, I agree. And the other thing that comes to my mind, it touches upon a point Brian was just talking about, and that is that historically, marketing has not been extremely accountable. Marketing has been very anecdotal. So, I remember, going to the Builder Show several years ago and going up to a VP of marketing who had spent $500,000 on the booth and saying, hey, what is your measure of success? Like, how do you determine that this was a good this $500,000 you spent on being at this Builder Show, that it will pay off? And he looks at me and says, well, in about 20 minutes, the CEO is going to come tour the booth. And if he likes it, that's a success. And I'm going like, wow, I would fire that guy. Okay. I mean, really? Who cares what the CEO thinks, right? And in today's world, we have now so much ability to measure. Salespeople have always been measured, right? Marketing people it's been challenging historically to measure actual performance of marketing. But today it's not. Everything can be measured. And so we measure, we have this new website. We measure our traffic to the website. We measure how many inquiries. We measure other performance factors. We measure our SEO rankings and all of these things that, along with sales. And here, once again, is this a very important step in the purchase process is I want to know where to buy this. And all of a sudden, we don't care that we allow that to sit there, and it's not part of measurement. It's not part of measurable marketing. That's the other thing that got me excited about it was like, okay, not just looking at Google Analytics, how many people go to that page, but being able to say this person clicked on this dealer and wants to talk to them, or they clicked on these 3 dealers and wants to talk to them. Okay. And then, because I'm sitting there going, if I were a territory manager, if I had, I'm the territory manager for Georgia, and so I should be aware of all of my dealers or contractors in Georgia, certainly the ones that are listed on our website, and so I can see how many inquiries that we're sending to them. And how are their sales doing? I can pick up the phone and say, hey, Mrs. Smith called you last week about that project. What's up with that? Can we help you with any way? Can I get you some samples or anything? Or on a bigger commercial project, what's it going to take to get the job? Who's the competition and so forth? And so I'd sit there and say, okay, here are my top 10 dealers. Here's how many inquiries they got last month. Here's what happened with their sales. So the person that's doing things right, in other words, the person that's making the most sales with those inquiries, what are they doing differently than the other people? And then the dealers that are not performing up to our expectations, one, are they selling the competition? Should we be sending them fewer? Should we have a little discussion with them? Or 2, maybe they need training. Maybe we've assumed that they know how to sell our product, okay, because they're a dealer, but maybe they don't. And so very valuable information, once again, how best to use your resources and time that I would take away from what a locator that has these modern day components to it, if you will, can do.
It's an excellent point in that you now all of a sudden have a way to measure which of the dealers are doing well, who's performing, and then you can address it in the suggestions you made that sort of work together. If it's training, if it's going out, sending your reps out to talk to them, encouraging them, coaching them, but all of a sudden you have a mechanism to understand who is doing it right and who isn't doing it right.
Right. So I love comparisons and analogies, and I was doing an evaluation of samples this morning. I went to 5 different companies that make engineered quartz slabs, which are most commonly used as countertops. And there are maybe 5 leading brands and then a whole bunch of other suppliers. And once this is installed, it doesn't have a label on it like maybe a Kohler faucet does. You don't know whose it is. You don't know who made that quartz. So it's hard to get people to, and many of them are, you have, I'll call good, better, and best quality. But, if you're in the same range, then probably their white looks good enough as the other guy's white, unless you're a really particular designer or something. And so one of the things that I'm wondering with this is the locator not getting the degree of importance that it should. All right. So if I'm in my mind starting with, okay, I'm going to design a new website. Okay, I kind of go, oh yeah, we need a locator. Somebody go pick a locator. There's a bunch of free ones and maybe some low cost ones, and you just have a locator, right? And so I was reminded. So I get these samples, and so here's just two examples of the 5, right? So here's one, right? And they're both from leading brands, okay? And so this leading brand, inside that bag here, inside this UPS thing with no branding on it, was some foam to protect it, which is good. And here were, here are 3 nice samples, which is what I wanted, I expected, okay, with some branding on the back, right? But in here there's no cover letter, there's no brochure, there's nothing, right? It's just we had a task, we had to send you a sample, we got that job done, right? Then I look at another brand here, Caesar Stone, right? And so Caesar Stone comes in, I open up the package and it's like, oh, wait a minute, okay, here's this, right? And I pull it open right now, and here's these 4 samples, right, that are in here, right? And it's just beautifully presented. It just makes a statement. And so to me, the marketing department recognized the importance of samples in their overall marketing program, where the other company, selling samples is an expense. Sending samples out is an expense. It's not something about marketing. And I'm just wondering, when we're talking about locators, if it's that they're having the same thing, that I see more companies deliver samples just a critical a time, a lot more expensive. This, I don't know, probably costs $30 or something, very expensive. And in this company, the marketing team recognized the importance of staying involved, the customer experience, the brand, and so forth. And in the other, actually 3 other examples where they all, here's your samples, no branding, no nothing, other than a sticker on the back of the sample. And so, I'm just wondering if it hasn't. I'm thinking about, I've got to do the website. And so I'm more worried about the homepage. I'm more worried about videos and this and that, and all the things are going to happen. And I just kind of go, oh yeah, we need a locator. Just wonder if it doesn't get the degree of attention that it should. Brian, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say absolutely that's true. A lot of folks set these sort of things up as, here's a list of dealers or installers, and that's all it is. It's just a list. It's just black and white text, and that doesn't really do a whole lot to help facilitate a quality connection, right, between the customer and the right dealer and the right installer for their situation. And it's not creating a level of trust, just like you showed me with the samples, right? So I get a few things in an envelope, or so I get something where someone has put care into it, right? That tells me that I'm going to have a much better experience with that brand, right? There's live people on the other end of this, and here's a picture of some of them. I know who I'm going to see. I know who I'm going to meet. I know what some of their work looks like. So you're really elevating the trust factor, right? And that's what's going to bring that lead through to close with a particular installer or dealer, depending on what the case may be.
Yeah. And Joshua, what are your experiences or thoughts about how locators are viewed?
Well, my experience is that, like you say, it's it's an afterthought often. It's the end of the website, and people think that we need a locator, so they grab one and don't realize that it is truly an opportunity to help establish trust and credibility. And it's also an opportunity to really influence people in a way that helps drive more business.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, this has been great. I really appreciate having your time on here, and hopefully, we helped the building material manufacturers and people that are on here to start to take a fresh look at the locator. And the things that I would tell you to do are look at your own locator. Look at it, first of all, from the standpoint of you are a customer. Okay. Are you being helpful enough? And then look at it from the standpoint, are you staying involved, or are you kissing the prospect goodbye when you send them to your locator page? And then the second thing I would tell you to take your major competitors and take a look at their locators and see, are any of them doing a better job than you, and what could you do to up it? And, one of the things that I also liked about it, it's like so many things digitally, we used to live in a world where the more money you had, the more successful you could be. So how much money do you have to spend on advertising? And so the company that had the most money tended to win. And now with tools like this, you no longer have that competitive advantage. It is very cost effective to have a locator that gives you a real competitive advantage, compared to, running a bunch of ads or something.
Yeah.
So this has been very helpful. Joshua, what is the best way to learn more? The website, is it bullseyelocations.com?
Right, bullseyelocations.com. You can look Brian or myself up on LinkedIn.
Great. And then you also, I think, Joshua, have a great blog with a lot of more content about locators, and you have a monthly newsletter about locators. So those are two other assets. If you're interested, or maybe you're a salesperson and going, gee, we should have a better locator, but that's our marketing department. Well, you can always just forward this, say, hey, listen to this, and get them to understand more about what we're talking about here about better locators. Well, I've really enjoyed having both of you on, as always. I enjoy our conversations. I like to talk with people that I learn something from, and I always learn something whenever I talk to the two of you. And so it's been very helpful to me, and I hopefully to my audience. And thanks for tuning in. And if you think this was helpful, reach out to Bullseye or forward this on to the person that you think maybe should know more about improving your locator. And I'll look forward to having you tune into our upcoming podcast.
Thank you for listening to this podcast from Mark Mitchell on building materials, sales, and marketing. We hope he gave you some fresh perspectives on how to grow your sales, and will listen to future episodes.